Shabbat Shalom, my friends, and welcome back to our readings. And this week we are going to start with Bereshit 40, and we're going to do 40 and 41. We're going to do two. And there's some really wonderful gems within these readings. And we're going to see, trying to think of how to best put this, we're going to see some correlations between Joseph, and Yeshua, Jesus, and things that are done. And they're quite amazing. And we do have a little bit of wind. It is a beautiful, partly sunny 51 degrees. We're getting a little break before the rain comes back in today. Some wonderful coffee. Thank you, Yah, for the warmth of coffee. I'm going to start this one with a little prayer. Father Yah, please guide me in this reading. Allow the Ruach HaKodesh to put your words in my mouth and not my words. Help those that are listening to receive your word, not my words, but your words. Allow the Ruach HaKodesh to open their eyes and ears so that they can see your truth, your everlasting truth. And I ask this in Yeshua's name. Amen. So, now, I will try my best, as always, not to slaughter, and we shouldn't say slaughter. I pretty much eviscerate the Hebrew language. I am striving to do better, but yes, I don't slaughter it, I eviscerate it. But my heart is in the right place, and I just am following Yah's encouragement in what he's put upon my heart, that I am to read the Torah. And we're going to do that until Yah tells me that I'm to continue reading the prophets or the New Testament. But one thing that has been put on me through basically my wife, she wants to have discussions comparing verses and how they seem possibly contradictory, but they are not. And we're going to have discussions. So that's going to be another part of this channel. And we're going to put it in another playlist. We'll call it, I don't know what I'll call it, but we're going to have some biblical discussions. The prepper side of this channel is still there. I will be doing a filming later tonight with the prepping side, and that will go up. But I'm going to do that after dark because it's still Shabbat. And that is all we're going to talk about that. So let us, not let us, but let us begin. And after these events, it came to be that the cupbearer and the baker of the sovereign of Mitzrayim sinned against their master, the sovereign of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh was wroth with this too. And Pharaoh was wroth with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. So he put them in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison, the place where Yusuf was a prisoner. And the captain of the guard put Yusuf in charge of them, and he served them. So they were in confinement for some time. The cupbearer and the baker of the sovereign of Mitzrayim, who were confined in the prison, dreamed a dream, both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. They didn't dream the same dream. They had a dream the same night, but different dreams. This is key. We're going to get some key points here. And Yusuf came to them in the morning and looked at them and saw that they were sad. Why sad face? Why frowny face? Guys, come on. Why the frowny emoji? And he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in confinement in his master's house, saying, "Why do you look so sad today?" And they said to him, "We have dreamed a dream, and there is no one to interpret it." This on mine, I have highlighted. There is no one to interpret it. So they can't find Miss Cleo. So they're having a hard time. They're looking for Miss Cleo. She hasn't been born yet, because this is even before Moshe. So they're not finding any witches, sorcerers. And Yusuf said to them, he's about to rebuke them. And Yusuf said to them, do not interpretations belong to Elohim? That right there, my friends. We need to take that into some serious consideration as followers of this word. We do not go to those palm readers, tarot. We don't go to tarot readers, those that look into tea leaves. We don't go to dream interpreters. We don't use stones. We don't use that stuff. Not allowed. Oh, but I have angel cards. No, you have demon cards. We don't do that. I'm not going to say, we'll learn about that in Leviticus and Exodus. We'll continue with Bereshit 40. 40, verse 8. And they said to him, we each have dreamed a dream, and there's no one to interpret it. And Yusuf said to them, do not interpretations belong to Elohim? Relate to them to me, please. So the chief cupbearer related his dream to Yusuf and said to him, see, in my dream, a vine was before me. In the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. So I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And Yusuf said to him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet, within 3 days, Pharaoh is going to lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you shall put Pharaoh's cup in his hand according to the former ruling, when you were his cupbearer. But remember me when it is well with you, and please show loving commitment. We know about that. Mercy. Show loving commitment to me, and mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For truly I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and also I have done naught that they should put me in this dungeon. Yeah, he didn't do anything. He's there because of bearing false witness. And the chief baker saw the interpretation was good, and he said to Yusuf, I also was in my dream, and I saw 3 white baskets were on my head, and the uppermost baskets of all kind of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket on my head. And Yusuf answered and said, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days Pharaoh is going to lift your head from you and hang you on a tree. Oops. And the birds shall eat your flesh from you. And the birds will eat the flesh. That's in Revelations. And the birds will eat the flesh until they can eat no more, roughly is what basically. And on the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday came to be, that he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief cupbearer to his post of cupbearer again. And he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker as Yusuf had interpreted to them. And the cupbearer did not remember Yusuf, but forgot him. Wow. So, he ends up being forgotten. And we have, the cupbearer. There's a job, the chief cupbearer. My wife is making googly faces at me, so sorry if I'm smiling. She's looking at me through my window. So, cupbearer. You the king, you the chief. Got to make sure I serve you, and before I serve you, I'll drink of it because someone might be poisoning you. We don't really have, is there a chief cupbearer job anymore? Do we have that? I don't know. In Genesis 41, and I rebuke you, dog who does not shut up. Genesis 41, I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Silence. Genesis 41, and it came to be at the end of 2 years' time that Pharaoh had a dream and saw him standing by the river, and saw 7 cows coming out of the river, beautiful looking and fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming after them out of the river, ugly and lean of flesh, and they stood by the other cows on the bank of the river. And the ugly and the lean of flesh cows ate up the 7 beautiful looking and fat cows, and Pharaoh awoke. And he slept and dreamt a second time, and saw 7 heads of grain coming up on one stalk, plump and good. 7 grains. Didn't Yusuf have a dream about 7 grains, the tall grains growing and other? Oh, hey. And saw the 7 heads of grain coming up on one stalk, plump and good. And he saw 7 lean heads scorched by the east wind coming up after them. And the 7 lean heads swallowed the 7 plump, and 7 plump incomplete heads. Then Pharaoh awoke and saw it was a dream. And it came to be in the morning that his spirit has moved, and he sent and called for all the magicians. Not supposed to doing that, bro, but we don't do that. Magicians of Mitzrayim, and all its wise men. And Pharaoh related to them his dreams, but there was no one that could interpret him for Pharaoh. Yes, because dream interpretation belongs to Elohim. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharaoh, saying, I remember my crimes this day. How convenient. When Pharaoh was wroth with his servant, and put me in confinement in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker, each one of us dreamed a dream in one night. He and I, each of us dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. And there was with us a Hebrew youth, a servant of the captain of the guard, and we related to him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream, and it came to be as he interpreted for us. So it came to be. He restored me to my office, and he hanged him. Yeah, he's like, hey, this guy told me I'm going to be restored, but the other dude, he going to be swinging from a rope. Then Pharaoh sent and called Yusuf, and they hurried, brought him out of the dungeon, and he shaved and changed his garments and came to Pharaoh. He's going to get washed because he's been in prison, probably dirty. Shaved his beard, maybe shaved his head, shaved his beard, a little bit of possibly shaming there to let him know his place. I don't know. That's kind of my take on that. And Pharaoh said to Yusuf, I have dreamed a dream, and there's no one to interpret it. Now I myself have heard it said of you that you understand a dream to interpret it. And Yusuf answered Pharaoh, saying, it is not me. Let Elohim answer Pharaoh with peace. And Pharaoh said to Yusuf, see, in my dream I stood on the bank of the river and saw 7 cows coming up out of the river, beautiful looking and fat, and they fed amongst the reeds. Then saw 7 other cows coming up after them, poor and very ugly and lean of flesh, such ugliness as I have never seen in all the land of Mitzrayim. And the lean of flesh, the ugly cows, ate up the first 7 fat cows. Yet when they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were as ugly as at the beginning when I awoke. At the beginning, then I awoke. 41:22. Also I looked in my dream, and I saw 7 heads coming up on one stalk, complete and good, and then saw 7 heads, withered, lean, scorched by the east wind, coming up after them. And the lean heads swallowed the 7 good heads, and I spoke to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. And Yusuf said to Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads are 7 years. It is one dream. And the 7 lean and ugly cows which came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty heads scorched by the east wind are 7 years of scarcity of food. There's going to be a massive famine that's going to stretch out across Mitzrayim. We're going to later find out it's just not Mitzrayim that gets this famine. This is the word which I spoke to Pharaoh. Elohim has shown Pharaoh what he's about to do. See, 7 years of great plenty are coming in all the land of Mitzrayim. Man, things are going to be good. Money's going to be piling high, taxes coming in, the people are going to be working, there's going to be food, there's going to be drink, there's going to be wine, there's going to be plenty. We're going to have 7 years of plenty. Things are going to be good. Okay, so back to 41:29. See, 7 years of great plenty are coming in all the land of Mitzrayim. We go to 30, but after them 7 years of scarcity of food shall arise, and all the plenty be forgotten in the land of Mitzrayim, and the scarcity of food shall destroy the land, and the plenty shall not be remembered in the land because of the scarcity of food following, for it is very severe. So basically, this famine coming in is this scarcity, this it's however you want to look at it, a plague, famine. It's going to be so bad that no one's going to remember when they had food and wealth. Do we see some correlations going on here? Do we see that within our own lands, our own time? Personally, I think we've gone beyond the land of plenty, and I think we're entering the scarcity. It's coming. Am I saying we're in end times? No, by no means am I saying end times. But am I saying, I feel we are fast approaching, I've always felt this, the end of the American Empire. And I think a lot of those of faith are seeing the end of the American Empire as end times. If this is end times now, John owes us an apology because he really exaggerated in Revelations. But that's Revelations, not Genesis. 41:32. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice because the word is established. In the words of 2 or 3, let something be established. And Elohim is hastening to do it. Basically, he's saying, look, Yahweh, Elohim, just foot stomped this. You've seen it twice. It's been established. Get your poop in a group. Get your stuff moving. You got to do something. You need to prepare for this. I am giving you a warning. I'm showing you all the signs. You are to be prepared. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man, and set him over the land of Mitzrayim. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint overseers to the land to take up 1/5 of the land of Mitzrayim in the 7 years of plenty. So he's saying take 1/5 of what the land has. Take 1/5 of your earnings, 1/5 of your money, and you need to store 1/5 up. Here's a guideline on how to prepare. And 41:35, and let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up grain under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep the food in the cities, have storehouses. And the food shall be a store for the land for the 7 years of scarcity of food, which shall be in the land of Mitzrayim. And do not let the land be cut off by the scarcity of food. Basically, there's a neat one right there. And do not let the land be cut off by the scarcity of food. We can dive deeper into that. We're going to store up food, but we don't want to cut our lands off. There may be others that may need may need us help. Doesn't mean we just blindly just give out, because we're going to find that later on in a few other chapters. It's not just hand it out. And do not let the land be cut off by the scarcity of food. And the word was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, could we find another like him, a man in whom is the spirit of Elohim? Now that's cool. Could we find another man like him, a man in whom is the spirit of Elohim? So Yusuf has the spirit. Oh, could that be the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit? But that wasn't given until, no. The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, has been with us since the beginning of time. In the beginning was the Word, and He was the Word. Christians created a triune. They created a one. Ahad. Only one God. Ugh, I hate using that word God. Only one Elohim. Yahweh. Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. Father Yah. Only one. Then Pharaoh said to Yusuf, since Elohim has shown you all of this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. Be over my house, you yourself, and at your mouth all my people shall kiss only in the Be over my house, you yourself, and at your mouth all my people shall kiss. Only in the throne am I greater than you. Whew, that's powerful. And Pharaoh said to Yusuf, see, I have set you over all the land of Mitzrayim. Basically, he has just appointed Yusuf essentially the king of Egypt. The only time Pharaoh is greater than him is when he sits in the throne. Other than that, Pharaoh is submitting himself to Yusuf. Powerful. Yusuf is just become the most powerful man in all of Mitzrayim, in all of Egypt. And Pharaoh said to Yusuf, see, I have set you over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh took his sealed ring off his hand and put it on Yusuf's hand. And he dressed him in the garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. And he had him ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried out before him, bow the knee, and he set him over all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh said to Yusuf, I am Pharaoh, and without a word from you, let no man lift his hand or foot in all the land of Mitzrayim. And Pharaoh called Yusuf's name Zappanai-Paneah, and he gave him as a wife Asenah, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. And Yusuf went out all over the land of Mitzrayim. Now Yusuf was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim. And Yusuf went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all the land of Mitzrayim. And in the 7 years of plenty, the ground brought forth generously, and he gathered all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Mitzrayim, and laid up the food in the cities, and he laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. He's making storehouses everywhere. He's building up basically caches. He's setting up caches of food and grain. Thus Yusuf gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea until he ceased counting, for it was without number. And to Yusuf were born 2 sons before the years of scarcity of food came, whom Asenah, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore him. And Yusuf called the name of the firstborn, oh God, I know this, hang on. Manasseh, sorry. I had to look away from it because I know it without looking at the Hebrew. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Elohim has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for Elohim has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So there we have two more that we're going to add to Israel, Manasseh and Ephraim. They are Yusuf's children, still Israel. They are still part of the tribes of Israel. I lost my place. Ephraim for Elohim. 41:53. And the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Mitzrayim came to an end, and the 7 years of scarcity of food began to come, as Yusuf had said. And the scarcity of food was in all the lands, but in all the land of Mitzrayim there was bread. So in all the lands surrounding Mitzrayim, everywhere, there was nothing. It was gone. But Mitzrayim still had bread and grain. Mitzrayim was still eating. But when all the land of Mitzrayim hungered, and the people cried to Pharaoh for bread, Pharaoh said to all the Mitzrayites, go to Yusuf, do whatever he says to you. And the scarcity of food was all over the face of the earth. And Yusuf opened all the storehouses and sold to the Mitzrayites. And the scarcity of food was severe in the land of Mitzrayim. And all the earth came to Yusuf in Mitzrayim to buy grain, because the scarcity of food was severe in all the earth. This famine covered the entire earth. But Yusuf, through Pharaoh's dream and Elohim telling him, was able to store up and was able to prep. And I find that interesting because I talked to a lot of Christian preppers at time. And just Christian preppers. We're not going to say, like, that, because look at the Mormons. The Mormons for a long time used to do, 7 years. Then it turned down to a year. Now I think they're just like, hey, have 3 months. There's still Mormons that still are like 7 years. They store up their food. But I have heard Christian preppers, those that believe there's something coming. Oh no. Yeshua said, God will provide. I don't have to do anything. God will provide for me. Because remember what he said about the birds? Does not God provide for the birds? Yeah. But I don't think God's building their nest or just, hand feeding them. The birds are going out there and eat. That's not a say, hey, oh, don't worry, I'll just make sure food pops up for you. You're supposed to store up. As Christians, as followers of this word, we should be prepared. We should have storehouses, and we should have enough that we can open it up and, yes, possibly sell. He wasn't just handing it out. He's like, okay, you guys are, everyone's suffering, but you're going to have to buy the grain. We can't just give this out for free. Something to think about. Oh, generosity. The generosity was them storing up the food. Something to think about. But with that, I'm coming to an end. We're coming to an end. I'm coming to an end because it is cold. I should have wore a little bit more. I don't have my fire going today. I need more coffee. I need more coffee. But thank you once again for following along. As always, I'll clip this into shorts. Those of you, hey, if you're watching a short, watch the video. Comment, like, subscribe, share, please. That's how we get this word out. I'm not going to say anything else about any of that. I don't post any ads or anything in the word because I don't want to make money off of Yahweh's word. That's what the preparedness side is for. But with that, my friends, Shabbat Shalom. You have a wonderful, blessed week. May the Father may Yahweh shine his face upon you. May Yahweh smile upon you. And may you be completely blessed this week. Till next week, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you again.